Join me as I take on the challenge of fully trusting God's timing and discovering why it's truly worth the wait. Now, Jesus told a story about a widow and a judge. The widow needed justice, so she went to the judge repeatedly. The judge, however, didn't care about her pleas. He ignored her for a long time, but the widow persisted. She wouldn't give up. Finally, the judge relented, not because he cared, but because he was tired of her persistence. This parable holds a powerful message about prayer and trust in God's timing. Like the widow, we may face situations that require unwavering faith. We may cry out to God, wondering when our prayers will be answered. But God, unlike the unjust judge, cares deeply for us. He hears our every plea and sees our every tear. He promises to answer us in His perfect time. The widow's story teaches us that even when we don't see immediate results, we should never lose hope. Keep praying, keep believing, and keep trusting in His perfect plan. So, are you ready to discover the key to transforming your prayers into powerful conversations with the divine? The divine dialogue offers you a unique pathway to not just speak, but to listen and receive clear guidance in return. Curious to learn more? The journey to a deeper spiritual connection begins with a single click. I'll leave a link in the description below this video to open your gateway to a whole new level of divine conversation. Moving on, it's an inevitable part of life, yet it often feels unbearable when waiting feels like an eternity. We wait for a job offer, a medical diagnosis, a relationship to blossom. Time seems to crawl, and our minds race with anxieties. We question, we doubt, and we wonder if God has forgotten about us. This feeling of being stuck in a holding pattern is enough to make anyone feel discouraged. But it's in these moments of uncertainty that our faith is truly tested. When waiting feels like an eternity, we must cling to the truth that God is in control. His timing, though often mysterious, is always perfect. Remember, God uses waiting periods to refine us, to mold us into the people He created us to be. In the midst of waiting, it's easy to become consumed by the future. We fixate on the outcome, the moment when our prayers will finally be answered. But in doing so, we miss out on the beauty and the lessons of the present moment. Instead of anxiously anticipating what's to come, we need to learn to find peace and contentment in the here and now. This means focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, and our attitudes. It means choosing gratitude over worry, faith over fear. When we shift our perspective from what we lack to what we have, we open ourselves up to a world of blessings we might have otherwise missed. He is with us in the waiting, offering us His peace, His comfort, and His strength. Patience is not merely about waiting passively, it's about actively trusting in God's plan, even when we don't understand it. It's about choosing to believe that He is working all things together for our good, even when circumstances seem bleak. This kind of trust requires humility. It means surrendering our own desires and timelines to God, acknowledging that His ways are higher than ours. Patience, though often challenging, is a virtue worth cultivating. It strengthens our faith, deepens our relationship with God, and shapes us into more resilient and compassionate individuals. When we learn to wait patiently on the Lord, we are transformed from the inside out. Now let's move on to some biblical examples of trusting God's timing. The Bible is filled with stories of men and women who had to wait on God's timing. These stories are not just historical accounts, but lessons for us today. Abraham and Sarah waited decades for the promised child. Their journey was filled with moments of doubt and impatience, yet they held on to God's promise. Joseph endured years of slavery and imprisonment before rising to a position of power. His story is a testament to resilience and faith, showing that even in the darkest times, God's plan is at work. David was anointed king as a young man, but had to wait many years before he actually took the throne. During this period, he faced numerous challenges and adversities, yet he never lost faith in God's timing. These biblical figures faced trials, disappointments, and moments of doubt. Their lives were not easy, and their faith was tested repeatedly, but they also demonstrated unwavering faith in God's promises. Their trust in God did not waver, even when circumstances seemed hopeless. They clung to His word, even when it seemed like their dreams were slipping away. Their stories remind us that God's timing is perfect, even when it doesn't align with our own. And in God's perfect time, they received all that He had promised them. Their patience and faith were rewarded in ways they could not have imagined. Their stories offer hope and encouragement to us today. They teach us that waiting on God is not in vain, and that His plans for us are always for our good. When we read about their journeys, we are inspired to keep trusting, keep believing, and keep hoping for the fulfillment of God's purposes in our own lives. Their experiences serve as a powerful reminder that God's timing is always perfect. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. His promises are steadfast, and His timing is impeccable. As we navigate our own lives, let us draw strength from these biblical examples and trust that God's timing is always for our ultimate good. Trusting in God's timing often requires us to step into the unknown with faith as our guide. We may not know what the future holds, but we can be certain that God does. He sees the bigger picture, the one that's hidden from our limited perspective. When we surrender to His plan, we open ourselves up to possibilities we could never have imagined on our own. It's like embarking on an adventure with a trustworthy guide. We may not know the exact route, but we can trust that He will lead us to our destination safely. Instead of fearing the unknown, we need to embrace it as an opportunity for growth, discovery, and adventure. He uses every experience, every trial, every delay to shape us, to refine us, and to draw us closer to Himself. He is orchestrating our lives according to His perfect will, even when we can't see it. Sometimes the greatest challenge is not the waiting itself, but recognizing God's hand in the midst of it. We may be so focused on our circumstances, our anxieties, and our own limited understanding that we fail to see the ways in which God is working in our lives. We miss the subtle signs, the unexpected blessings, and the divine appointments that He orchestrates on our behalf. But when we take the time to reflect on our journeys, we begin to see His fingerprints all over our stories. We remember the prayers He's answered, the storms He's calmed, and the times He's made a way when there seemed to be no way. Learning to recognize God's hand in our lives is an ongoing process. The more we seek His presence, the more evident it becomes. There's nothing quite like the joy of seeing a prayer answered, a dream fulfilled, or a promise coming to pass. It's a moment of pure gratitude, a testament to God's faithfulness and His unwavering love for us. The wait may have been long, the journey arduous, but the reward is sweeter because of it. We emerge from the waiting period stronger, wiser, and more deeply rooted in our faith. These moments of breakthrough remind us that God is a rewarder of those who diligently seek Him. He sees our faith, He hears our prayers, and He delights in pouring out His blessings upon us. He knows what we need, when we need it, and how to give it to us in a way that will bring Him the most glory and us the most joy. Trusting in God's timing is not a one-time decision, but a way of life. It's a daily choice to surrender our plans, our anxieties, and our own limited understanding to the One who holds the universe in His hands. It's about waking up each morning with a heart filled with hope, knowing that God is in control and that He is working all things together for our good. Living a life of hope and trust doesn't mean we won't face trials or experience moments of doubt, but it does mean that we face them with the assurance that God is with us, that He cares for us, and that He is working out His perfect will in our lives. So let us be patient in affliction, persistent in prayer, and unwavering in our trust in God's perfect timing. The wait may be long, but the reward will be worth it. Now imagine a world where every prayer feels like a direct conversation with the universe. The divine dialogue can make that a reality. This groundbreaking approach is changing lives by turning prayers into powerful dialogues. If you're seeking answers, clarity, or just a deeper connection with the divine, your search ends here. Click the link in the description below this video to start your journey with the divine dialogue and experience the power of true spiritual communication. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. And don't forget to leave a comment below letting me know what you think.